right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the first 2023 edition of the Bulluminati podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Hopefully, joining alongside me as always, Seth Varnadore and Robert Steeg. Guys, we've gotten through Christmas, we've gotten through early signing day, we've gotten through New Year, we've gotten through that first week back of work where you're like, don't really want to be here, and then it's the second week and you're like, don't want to be here. So how we doing? How was the Christmas holidays? How was everything for you guys?
So far so good. Work isn't giving me a heart attack just yet. I got stuck out in the Gulf of Mexico for New Year's. So there's worse places I could have gotten stuck on a cruise ship in the middle of basically the holiday season. But other than that, everything was all fine and dandy. Seth?
Yeah, good. Got to see some family. Kids had a good Christmas, so got to play some golf in 30-degree weather. So that was a new experience. So overall a nice little break.
Yeah, I played golf Christmas Eve, and it was, I think, 29 degrees, and it was every bit of 29 degrees, and then played the Monday after Christmas, and I think it was like 40 degrees, and it felt like summertime to me compared to Christmas Eve. Actually played with Bulls 24/7's own Will Turner on that Monday, so that was fun to get out there and Will Turner to
we
smack the ball around.
We played that same morning, teed off at like 7:00. It was quite chilly. So, yeah.
Pardon my French. Fuck that. It was 85 degrees in Cozumel, and boy, I could have worn a sweater. I hate the cold. That is my absolute bane of my existence.
I love it. Big fan of the cold here. Big fan of the cold.
Same.
My brother's hands went numb, so he wasn't as good on the back nine as he was the front.
Yeah, I on the Christmas Eve round, I had like 3 jackets, and then by like the third hole, I was just down to my shorts and my polo, and I just kind of had a grin and bear it, and I actually played better Christmas Eve than I did that Monday, so maybe there's a reason why.
Yeah, I tell you, I lucked out. I had my brother a few years back won the Tampa Bay Bucks Coach of the Year, and he won tickets to the Super Bowl. So I went with him to the Super Bowl and a couple other people, and it was in Minnesota. So I had a couple like cold weather layers that weren't too prohibitive to movement. I wore those. That was fine. Nice little warm long sleeve type deal. It was easy. Beautiful day.
Not for me.
May try it again this weekend.
Oh, that'd be nice. The kids' big Christmas gift was we got Disney passes. So on Sunday we went to Disney Springs because we got a gift card. Smith, his parents, hooked us up with like a $200 gift card to put toward the down payment for the passes. So we were able to do that. But you can only use the gift card at Disney. So we had to end up going to Disney. So we just made a day of it on Sunday. Got a beer at the Hole in the Wall. Got a harp. It was delicious. Had lunch at Rainforest Cafe. And I thought if you would have told me, Nathan, Brody's going to hate this, I would have been like, bro, there's no way. Animals making sounds, brain, he's going to love it. Terrified him from start to finish the entire meal. So that was an experience. But other than that, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think we're going on Friday after I get off work. They close at 11. So I'm going to Zoom to Magic Kingdom after work and try to get like 3 hours worth of rides in.
Nate, I have done that drive multiple times on a Friday leading up to trying to get there, as quickly as possible. Godspeed to you.
I'm not excited.
Terrible drive.
I'm not excited about it, especially on a holiday weekend. But other than that, it'll be all right. And I didn't realize it was a holiday weekend until like today at lunch. And I was like, oh man, that drive's not going to be like an hour and 30. That's probably going to be like a 2-hour drive.
You
Maybe.
fucking masochist is what you are.
So I'm going to have to tell Samantha, like we were going to do like this whole thing, walk in together. I'm like, babe, you're just going to have to go and I'll meet you there. Otherwise, it's just not going to be worth it. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, that's enough about that. We kind of decided to do something different. We're going to do something different in 2023. I'll be honest. I'm just the face behind the things. Seth, Steeg, and Vito have kind of started to put this together. So I'm going to give the kind of the broad overview, and then you guys fill in the holes in what I got completely wrong. So obviously, if you're watching, you know it's not on Twitter tonight. If you're tuning in live, so we're actually now on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, if that is correct. Am I right in that assumption?
Yes. So tonight we're trying Twitch instead of Twitter, just because Twitter, whatever reason, no longer allows comments. So we go to Twitch. As you can see right here, we've got somebody watching on Twitch, and we got a comment. So now you have 2 places to watch where you can comment, so you can join us live watch, or 3 places. So you got Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We can get comments from all of them here. So we decided to make that switch, and then Twitch also gives us some other kind of functionalities and different things we can do on it. That'll be fun. So we're gonna try it out.
Yeah. So what the plan is, and again, correct me when I'm wrong here, guys. I want to be perfectly clear. I am just the beautiful face behind the project. You guys are the muscle and the brains. We're going to try to monetize this thing. You guys have been loyal listeners, and you guys, have been following us for a long time. The easiest way to do this is with your help, and we're gonna try to make some really fun content for you guys. We're gonna have some stuff behind a paywall. We're gonna have some stuff that's just stuff that we just do. But the overarching thing is we're gonna throw in some scoops. We've started a Discord that will. You'll get some inside stuff that sometimes only the Slack channel ever sees. We're going to start doing it that way. So that's going to be another thing. Like a week and a half ago, we knew like 4 hours before that James Rowe was going to be the new safeties coach. You may find out that before anyone else. You may find out, who's this recruit committing, who's on a visit, stuff like that. Some inside baseball stuff that we've kind of tended to allude to in the podcast. We're basically going to come out flatly and say it. There'll be some rules behind it. Don't like anything else. If you're on the inside, you're on the inside, and the rules that are associated with that. I'll let Steeg and Seth kind of take over on what may be becoming from some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. Recruiting, things like that, of that ilk. Steeg, Seth, take it away. I'm just going to sit here and smile and nod like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so for me, this kind of idea started during the coaching search. We had some people that had some pretty good info, but we really didn't have an outlet to put it out because it's kind of how coaching searches go. There's a lot of rumors. There's not a lot of confirms. You don't really want to come out with things that you can't get a ton of confirmation on really hard publicly. But if we had a place like a Discord or a message board type place where we could kind of say, hey guys, this is what we're hearing. I thought there was kind of a hole in the market for that because Nate had pretty good info. We have some other people that contribute that have good info. And then as the assistant hires are being made, recruiting stuff is being done. We've got some people that know quite a bit and have some connections that have pretty good info that we're able to get stuff early. And so we think that we can kind of treat this as almost like our own message board type thing where we can put some info out that we probably wouldn't put out for public consumption. So we started a Discord. We're going to have it's going to be invite only, but what all we're asking initially, and Steve can talk about some of the other stuff we're going to do, but initially, if you follow us on Twitch, because that's an easy way for us to get to some monetization without having to make money off of any of you quite yet, right? There's an easy way to get to that kind of Twitch affiliate type stuff. Just by getting followers there. So if you send us, you can send the house account on Twitter, like a screenshot of you as a follower on Twitch. We'll send you a Discord invite. It'll be a cool place to come on and talk. And you know, there will be spots where you can just talk generally about USF, specific rooms for football, kinds of stuff like that. So it should be pretty fun and a way for us to interact a little bit more freely and more often. But Steeg, you've got some, you know, you're kind of part of this too.
Right. I sometimes no, and generally it's, you know, we want to be able to provide more content in more ways and more interaction in more ways than just utilizing, you know, twitter.com, which at times isn't the most efficient way to, you know, get your dose of USF related news and interactions. So, you know, one thing that we'll be starting back up is the roundups of the Olympic sports. So pretty much weekly, myself and Vito will, you know, get on about 45 minute show just to do a roundup and talk about the sports that, you know, don't always get their time in the limelight that they so rightfully deserve at times. So women's basketball more extensively, men's basketball more extensively, you know, baseball, softball, all the crossover sports that we're about to be in.
The men's basketball coaching search.
Men's basketball coaching search and things that are happening around those programs as well, whether it's recruiting, you know, staff changes, support, you know, changing, whatever's happening there. You know, today at the indoor performance facility, you know, grand opening, it's not just about football. And that's the thing that, you know, can kind of get lost every once in a while, especially that IPF, but just USF in general. Like, it's not just football. There's a lot of sports that are going on right now. There's a lot of really good things that are happening around the university. And so it's just going to be another outlet for us to kind of, you know, put those things in the limelight, give them their time to shine, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly that way, you know, and give them the fun there. So basically what we're planning on it right now is 2 shows a week, the Daily Stampede, the Bulluminati podcast, and then a weekly roundup where we'll talk about the previous week's sports, what happened, what's good, what's bad, and then looking ahead as well. So that's where we're looking at for a tentative schedule. But again, there's going to be more ways to interact with all of us, which, you know, we all show our asses out here every week. So now you'll really see the whole at this point.
Lord. That's our OnlyFans. We can't broadcast on there quite yet.
That's the really hidden account.
Yeah. But Seth, there's a question. I want to digress a second. There's a question. It's actually a 2-part question from AJ DN.
See this one.
PO.
On Twitch.
On Twitch. Look at that. Our one of our first Twitch subscribers, our first comments. So let's just read it out. Longtime listener, first time caller. 2 questions. First, did Amari Jackson push off? Resoundingly, it may shock you. He did not. He did not push off. Amari Jackson did not push off. I think that's clear. We'll know it forever and ever. We all know. I mean, yes, there was forward propulsion later on or before. I guess it was before. And then he definitely did not push off. I will stand by that forever and ever. Second, the Jeff Scott just needed more time to implement his system and give the boys the freedom to run and gun and find a way to win any which way they know how. I'll hang up and listen. You know,
I mean, who can say?
I mean, who can say? Who can really say at this point? It's, you know, maybe you should have played out the string. I mean, it's not like they won any other games, so why not? Maybe Xavier Weaver plays the final 2 games. Maybe he stays. Maybe Brian Petit stays. Whom among us, as Heathy Poop says, can say? We don't know that. We can't know that for sure, guys. but maybe.
No, you can never. One thing we can say about Jeff Scott is he did help bring in the indoor practice facility.
He did. He was one of what that. I mean, that plaque must have cost as much as some of those donations that they got from those people that are on the plaques. So that was pretty neat. So let's actually. Is there anything we want to kind of round up into a bow? I think the initial thing is so for the month leading up to National Signing Day in February, the recruiting Discord is going to be open and free for everyone. Okay, for everyone. We're going to test this out. It very may well fall flat on its face with how many people decide to take advantage of it. Who knows? But the first, I would say, up until football season, when recruiting really starts to take off, it's going to be completely free. Once the recruiting starts to pick back up, and honestly, if you guys feel that the Discord has been worth it, then it will be monetized at a subscription base, $5, $4, whatever it may be a month, to have access to the Discord. So you'll get the inside scoops, you'll get the recruiting stuff. Heath, I mean, I'll be honest. I think Steeg, you did a couple of TikToks for football stuff. I'm pretty sure.
I did.
We're on everything.
Multi-platform, baby.
Tumblr. I mean, Tumblr, much like OnlyFans, is that's personal and private. All right. I know they changed some rules on Tumblr, but it's still personal and private. But
I think Steeg's gonna start crocheting, and we'll get on Etsy as well.
Yeah, we have a Pinterest board, and
Yes.
we're looking on Be Real, but I'm a little concerned about it.
We're moving and shaking, but I think just to go on what you just said, Nate. Basically, we'd like to be able to monetize some of this stuff, but we're going to basically do a trial run until next football season. So jump in, follow. All you got to do is follow us on. That's right, baby. The coaching board. That's my Pinterest board. It's just I move different coaches on and off the list. So all you got to do is follow us on Twitch, which is free. We're not asking for you to subscribe. I don't think we're at that level yet, but just follow us on Twitch. Show us you follow us. And then that's free. Discord, we'll send you an invite. That's also free to join for now. And then we'll just see how that goes. And I think it'll be fun. It'll be a bunch of different ways for us to communicate directly, ask questions. We might do voice chat stuff in Discord. So we'll do some fun stuff. We'll take advantage of these different avenues we have to reach out and do different shows. So it'll be, this person said it perfect. It'll be a hoot, holler, and romping good time.
I think you're right. And I think we've talked about 20 minutes about the minutia, the behind the scenes, the everything of it. Let's actually get into some content, the hashtag content that we all live and thrive for. As we kind of discuss what the future of what we cover for recruiting, because I mean, in all, like, there's a place for talking to 16-year-old kids about where they're going to be going and trying to figure out their top 1,800, their top board. Like, there's a place and time for it. To channel my inner Danny Glover, I'm getting too old for this shit. So what we're gonna do is we're going to talk about the stuff that we know, the guys that are maybe I guess in an NCAA parlance, they're like 70% of the way there, or they're looking at us. They're really, really close to that, where you can bring them in for an official visit. If we're talking about NCAA 14 Portland's, where you got to get close, you got to get like over 50%. We're going to be talking about those guys. No one cares that you offered the top 100 players, the 5 stars who will never show up. Like, we get it. It's going to happen. I applaud Alex Golish. I think like one of his first like 2 offers were to the number 1 offensive lineman in the country.
Sadly, Caden Proctor committed to Alabama, I believe. So
actually flipped from Iowa.
He flipped from Iowa. Oh, did he really? Oh, I could have seen that.
All right, we offered
seen
him.
That coming.
USF offered. He's flipping to Alabama.
Yes, Chrissy, like 90% Dion share for sure. That's where we're going. So without further ado, let's kind of get into some of the recruiting stuff. Steeg, since early sign day, there's been some scuttlebutt, there's been some movement. I've got to, you know what? There's one guy that I'm looking at right now on my little tabs. You mentioned a name. I think it was you. It may have been Sean. Who? Oh, by the way, Sean Havens he joined the squad. It was so we started bandying this about, and we were like, all right, we got to figure out a way to bring this guy in, because him and Steeg are tag teaming this crap together. So we're gonna bring him in, and we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna see how things. That is you, Sean. I appreciate you. He doesn't have a camera, so he's not going to join us tonight, but he will be part of the crew going forward. It's the reason why we started to do this, because I'll be honest, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a different outlet for us. But there's a name, Steeg, that I think you sent right before we had our pre-show meeting. Screw it. Let's give him a little taste. And
while we do a nice radio tease real quick, you may know, if you don't know Sean by name, you probably know him. USF Recruiting News alumni _USF on Twitter. You've definitely seen his stuff on Twitter, so 300%. You may not know his name, but you know him. So now, Steve,
big clutch
spill.
I forgot who we're talking about.
Throw one out.
Look on the Discord, bro.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're talking about the one that I think is going to be committing here soon. The one that I've been tossing around.
The initials are QB.
Oh, Quincy Burrows. Yes. Yes. Good. I got it. There's another one that is in my head right now that I'm anxiously awaiting him to
is it in the
commit
chat?
At some point. But yeah, so Quincy Burrows looks like he's kind of narrowed his choices. He is the transfer from Cincinnati. He was originally from Jacksonville, Florida. So represent. Let me double check what his top 4 is. It's Memphis, USF, Wisconsin, and Georgia Tech. So it looks like the staff is probably going to try to wrangle in at least another couple skill players here. From Duval, from Rains High School, actually, which is quite a good football school with the athletes. But yeah, so that's a nice little nugget here. Not sure if he had gone on a visit yet. I'd imagine that they're going to try to bring him in as soon as possible. But yeah, that's a little nugget for everyone here of a potential, and also a little bit of a insight into, staff isn't quite done yet. We did see 2 guys enter the transfer portal today from USF. One Bayron Matos and
Chris
Carter. So 2 additional scholarships have opened up alongside the 2 or 3 ones that they had, additional open scholarships that they had already. So we're looking at another 4 or 5 guys that might commit here. So we'll see what that leads to.
Here we go. And Quincy Burrows, not just a 6'2" stud wide receiver. He also had offers from Harvard and Yale. So he's going to bring up the academic GPA of the team as well. If he can't get into Harvard on the Hillsborough, but he'll get into Harvard, then we know we got some issues. So if he picks USF and then there's some admissions issues, then we know we just need to throw the entire USF just process into the ground and bury it, and then bury it again. But that's good. I wanted to kind of bring that up because that was literally 20 minutes before we did our pre-show meeting. And that's the kind of stuff that you'll see on the Discord. We've had multiple stuff over the last, we started this, Monday? I guess it's probably been a little over a week. We actually went deep into the Discord and figured out we're still kind of playing with it, but that's kind of the stuff you'll see on the Discord recruiting side, and then some other things, some other news and notes from the other various channels as well. But recruiting wise, Steeg, kind of give us a rundown, I guess, since early signing day, what's kind of transpired from the 18th through the 20th of December, whatever that was, to 9:28 p.m. on January 10th of our Lord's 2023.
Oh, goodness gracious. So let's see. They had a couple official visits. So USF breaks up their visit calendar twice a week. Basically, they do like a Wednesday through Friday official visits, and then a Saturday through Monday, Sunday-ish visiting schedule. So they had one this past weekend, or this past week, that started with Dominic Ganella, RJ Perry, and then Jaden Gray, amongst a few others that were kind of notable that I had tossed around there. Dominic Ganella, a former Bay Area kid from Riverview, was in North Dakota State running back, transferred to USF. I don't have confirmation if he's on scholarship just yet. I'd imagine that he might be a what I would consider to be like a blue shirt. Like, he will end up being on scholarship by the time that they start in the fall, but we'll see what happens there. RJ Perry, Tennessee offensive lineman. You can follow the breadcrumbs on where he got the inkling to come here. And then Jaden Gray, he was an Iowa State defensive lineman. He ended up committing to Louisiana Tech today. So they had those guys on campus for official visit. Obviously, 2 of the 3 committed pretty shortly thereafter. And then the weekend, this past weekend, they had quite a few more visitors come through the gambit. I'm trying to think of the ones that I can talk about that I want to tease a few of them, but I don't want to tease too many of them. We did get a wide receiver commit, and Seth Jones from Baylor. There might be a few other wide receivers that were on the visits. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, a few that we know of that are not Quincy Burrows or Bowman. And then Derek Bowman, the offensive tackle from Houston, committed. And then the Texas edge, DJ Harris, also committed. And am I missing anyone?
Yeah, I don't think Bryce Archie had committed.
Yeah, we hadn't.
Right, Bryce.
Last time we talked, he's a new commit.
He's a new commit from Coastal Carolina. Basically, we'll give you an offense coordinator, you give us a quarterback and cast considerations. So,
and in respect to a QB pickup, when we have Gary Bohannon and Byron Brown and a few other quarterbacks on the roster, you always take a quarterback every single class. No matter what, transition class is no different.
Right.
The positive with Bryce Archie is that he has already spent a season at a Division I, football program, so he has that strength and conditioning underway, and he has a full 4 years of eligibility. And he got playing time last year for Coastal Carolina, so he's not completely, by the wayside or anything like that. But he's obviously not, I'm not expecting him to come in and start right away and blow up in the circuit or anything like that. He's definitely a guy that they see a lot of potential in. He might even play baseball for us, so who knows?
Touch 93 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
Boy, howdy, that'd be nice coming out of the bullpen, for sure. And on a interesting note, fun note, on the coaching staff wise, at least, we discussed James Rowe is officially here. Merritt is officially here. Middleton's officially here. Who else is officially here?
Creamer.
Creamer is officially here. Who's the tight ends coach?
Tyler Gray? No. Why am I blanking on his name?
I can't remember. It's
Jack Taylor.
No.
It is not. It
is
is
not Jack Taylor.
Clay Patterson.
Clay
That's
Patterson.
what it is.
Okay, I think we talked about him on the last pod,
Yes.
but I think the entire coaching staff is official. Creamer is doing. He's going to be doing special teams, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Correct? He was the guy that got
Special
designated
teams
for that.
and outside. Yeah.
Joel Gordon, quarterback coach. Blah blah blah. So the other interesting note is former USF quarterback Brett Keane is back in Tampa. He is going to be his official title is Senior Defensive Analyst Linebackers. He was at FAU under defensive coordinator Todd Orlando. He worked with Kevin Patrick. So he's coming back to Tampa. He after his USF career, he went to Charlotte, and then he was a GA at Charlotte. He was at Independence Community College, aka Last Chance U. He was there for a little bit, and then went to FAU, and now he's here back in Tampa, back where it all started for him at the collegiate level, which I think is really cool. We always talk about Chris Oladokin getting a raw deal at USF. I think you can squarely put Brett Keane in that pile as well, about just the absolute yo-yoing of that position after Quentin Flowers left. And it just a super raw deal. It seems like he's really kind of coming into his own as a coach, and I'm excited to have him back. A guy who's seen the good side of USF and the guy who's seen the bad side of USF his last couple of years and knows, okay, he can bring the insight. I think that's as an aside to coaching, we've always said USF is such a quirky freaking job. There's just different things that come about at USF that you just never really think about at other jobs, good and or bad. But having someone who's seen a high level of competency under Willie Taggart, he got it turned around, and then the starting of the downfall with Charlie Strong, if the coaching staff doesn't ask him or talk to him about, okay, what pitfall should we avoid, and Kevin Patrick as well, I think he's going to be a great asset as well, because he saw the rise of USF as well. So if goals rely on people who know the good and bad of this program, I think you'll not fall flat on your face like Jeff Scott did. I think we'll beat this into the ground. He tried to Clemson way the shit out of this place, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work start to finish.
Yeah, tried to kind of just bring a cookie cutter process, and it just didn't work. This is not something uncommon though. Surprised he'll be a defensive analyst. You'll see offensive guys be defensive analysts because they're not on field coaching. I know when I was coaching offense, my brother was the defensive coach, so he'd sometimes come to me and say, "Hey, what do you think they're trying to do out of this?" So sometimes offensive guys can give defensive guys good information just because they know, okay, how you may be thinking, okay, if they're showing you this formation, what are they probably trying to get you to do? So you'll see sometimes, I think there's been spots where you've seen guys who are big-time offensive coordinators, even head coaches with the offensive leans, go and become defensive analysts for some teams, and vice versa. So you can kind of tell. I think maybe Todd Grantham is like an offensive analyst at Alabama or something like that. There's times where those guys will switch roles in the analyst role because they give that side of the ball a different perspective. So that'll be Matt Patricia doing the total switch, but that's kind of part.
That God damn, that fucking flamed out.
That's kind of part of it, though. It's you can kind of have a different perspective. So yeah. So but speaking of coming back, I think the James Rowe hire is really a really good hire.
I was about to say, the thing about this staff that, again, say what you will about it, it's really an eclectic staff filled with guys that have touched success at almost every single level for whatever program that they have been a part of. The kind of black sheep of this is I guess Clay Patterson. If you're really gonna, sort of. I mean, Clay Patterson coming over from Colorado, not very good last year.
He was at Minnesota before, right? And
but touched success previously. Joel Gordon, Iowa State, not as successful last year, but again, he saw success in
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, yeah,
he's gonna hang his hat on Brock Purdy, baby. 6-0 Brock Purdy. I mean, come on,
all time. But like Matt Merritt, a Georgia Southern guy moving up to come to USF. Matt Middleton coming over from Kent State, moving up. Coach Hoodie moving down from Tennessee, but to become an offensive line coach here. And all these guys have touched success in various instances. But the biggest victory of this all is convincing an NFL guy, an NFL coach, to come here, to come back to his alma mater and basically take the exact same role that he had and be that here.
This is the wildest thing. And Sean said it in hashtag promotion, said it in the Discord today. The fact that they got a sitting NFL coach to leave his job to come here says incredible things. It's not like he was an analyst for the Chicago Bears. No. I want to be perfectly clear here. James Rowe was the defensive backs coach for the Chicago Bears. And if you guys have watched any Bears games this season, those young guys were good. It's just the rest of the Bears were probably the best 3-14 team in quite a while. And they lucked into the first overall pick because Lovie Smith said, "F you guys, I'm going out in a blaze of glory and I'm going to win this game regardless." But we're going off in an NFL tangent, but like the Bears, there are some pieces there that I think if they can get it figured out, they've got no skill guys on the offensive side of the ball that really hinders Justin Fields, and we'll figure out if he's going to be a good quarterback next year. But the young guys on the defensive side of the ball for the Bears were pretty good, especially in the secondary, and that's all you ask for to get. It's incredible. You never see that, especially dropping down to this level. Now, I get it if you're going to like Alabama, but to this level, that's incredible.
I think he's also listed as like passing game coordinator or something like that on
Correct.
Defense as well, right? So, interesting note on him. So he was a guy last year when USF was looking to hire. I got a text out of the blue from my former boss, Jerry Odom, and he said USF needs to hire Verpail or Rowe as the next DC. And I said, "Hey, I'm with you, man." He was like, "You need to tell people they need to hire Verpail or Rowe." So he's got the Jerry Odom seal of approval. That's all I need to hear. I think he's going to end up being a really, really good. I know there were some people that were thinking they might go get DeMarcus Van Dyke. I think you got a much better coach than DeMarcus Van Dyke was going to be. I saw some people kind of disappointed. I think this guy's a much better on-field coach.
Yeah, and the thing with DeMarcus Van Dyke is DeMarcus Van Dyke is a recruiting guru for Miami. And that's a wonderful aspect of this staff that would have been appreciated. But getting a sitting NFL coach to come coach your defensive backs is also a pretty good victory here. I mean, I guess if there's any gripe you can have, he's never, he played baseball for USF. So, that might be a different conversation.
That's the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing. I was like, I know like the old school like USF football players, like, that guy never played football here. What are you guys talking about? USF alum. What on earth are you freaking talking about? And here we are. And like I looked at his stats, he was pretty at baseball. I think he had like a mid-5 ERA, but he was fast and he was kind of that utility two-way guy. But he was a standout at Cocoa High School in high school, and his brother, who was I think he's the DB coach at Houston, the Houston Cougars. Unfortunate timing; they'll never play each other as Houston goes to the Big 12. But
maybe in the Cotton Bowl.
maybe in the Cotton Bowl or something. The CFP 12-teamer.
Hey,
But
Steeg,
I mean,
can I real quick? Can I show you something, Steeg?
Yes. Does he have a mustache? Oh yeah.
This was
that was the other one that I didn't know if I wanted to say or not.
this is out on Twitter here, 5:30.
Let me get you guys when I said that on Discord to really drive home the point here. But
So if you can see that was Lloyd Summerall with the eyes emoji for Naquan Wright, Florida running back.
yes. But the other thing that I like about
yesterday at 10:17 p.m.
yes. And in fact, I even
Or 10:17
mentioned him.
a.m.
I even mentioned him by name on the 2 days ago, at 2:38 in the afternoon. Just was hanging out with my girlfriend and decided, hey, I'm thinking about Naquan Wright. But the other thing that I like about the staff, and I pointed it out to a few of you guys as well, they're building a fucking support staff too. Like, this isn't just like, oh, we're getting these 10 on-field coaches and we're going to say fuck it and just hire some warm bodies to be strength and condition. Like, they're hiring guys for position, like specific support staff titles. Like, they hired this guy, David Norris, to be like strength and conditioning when it comes to like speed and enablement. And then they hired, director of player personnel and, director of scouting, director of high school relations, director of external relations. Like, they're hiring a full fucking staff. Like, that extra staff bump that they gave is really going to end up paying its dividends, because now you're going to be able to eventually have more on-field coaches, probably
$700,000.
Right. And that can go towards, the difference between a kid choosing USF over, I don't know, Toledo. We have more support staff. We have the new IPF. We have more ways. Now we just have to fucking win football games.
I think it also helps you in like the portal, right? You have guys. That's something that you're seeing a lot of the Power 5 level, where they're having basically personnel departments just constantly evaluating and watching the portal, so you can get on that early. And I think and then high school, obviously high school recruiting, the more guys you can have watching film, pushing stuff up towards the coaches to review and kind of get offers out on people. The kind of easier it is to find those kind of gems or get on guys early and maybe get a chance to steal them. I think as the kind of the big time recruiting trends more heavily towards NIL, kind of where it all seems to be predicated on that, having a support staff at kind of the mid tier of the recruiting, I think can be a really big advantage, because you can find those guys that maybe it's not quite about the NIL. It's just about identifying guys, getting them on campus. And that's where you can really take advantage of that. So
yeah,
that is like a really good thing to see them beefing that side of it up. And I think, do we still have, is Tank Dell too small still working, or has he moved
Oh, he's
on?
He's long gone. He's long gone.
Oh, okay.
Tank Dell's too small is long gone from the staff, which is
there you go. So there's
top tier. You talk about NIL. Since we last spoke, there's three pretty big guys who entered the portal. Dustin Hall, who we had penciled in as their starting center for 2023, has entered the portal. Xavier Weaver officially entered the portal after the Nationals, the early signing period, when Alex Golish said he was excited to see Xavier Weaver catch passes. And then Brian Battie ultimately entered the portal and committed to Auburn on Tuesday. Them's the breaks when you fire a head coach. If you expect everybody to stay, that's not what's going to happen, especially at this point of college football, where money talks. I don't think it was the biggest case for Brian Battie. I think he was looking for
a not rebuild.
Yes, I mean he's been he's been there for 3 years, 4 years, right? I mean, I know someone freaked out when I think Battie actually broke this person's brain, but he'd been here for 4 years or 3 years, and Xavier Weaver had been here for 4 years, and Dustin Hall had been here for 4 years. And you know what? Amari Jackson did not push off. I think you may be right. Sources may indicate that. But here we are. And that's just the name of the game at this point. You fire a coach, you're not going to – that's what happens. We'll live. You had to replace these guys anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Yeah, I think for a guy like Battie, especially, at his size, if he wants the chance to play the next level, he probably needs to kind of prove it at a higher level. If he can kind of show the same ability against some bigger opponents, that's his best chance. So it's not like he's taking an NIL bag for 1 year. He's doing his best he can after already being here for 3 years, playing a lot, not winning a lot. Not due to his contributions, but he's the guy that's had to endure a lot of losing here.
Right.
And he's as an All-American, All-Conference guy. So this is I think it's a good move for him to kind of get it one more year with some better competition. And then if he can kind of do the same things he's done the last couple of years, now he gets a chance to play at the next level. Whereas here, if he stays, he maybe has another great year, but the questions still linger. Is he big enough? Is he, can he do it? So I don't think you can fault those guys, and I think Weaver's kind of the same way.
Right.
If I can go 1 year and kind of show it at another level, there's not going to be a lot of questions about me for when I try to go to the NFL.
Right. And that's the thing to remember here is for a lot of these kids, it's not just like it's not just chasing the bag. It's chasing the dream, which is playing in the NFL. And frankly, I mean, these guys that were big contributors on USF's team, and in their pro grades, they're not getting, the pro grades that they think that they should be able to get. And they're getting advice from those scouts as well, saying, hey, yes, you're an All-American at USF. Fantastic. You're one of the best kick returners in the country. But at the end of the day, if you're at USF and you're doing everything you possibly can and you can't grade out to a draftable standard, that's not going to cut it, for their dream of making it to the league. So yeah, taking a year at Auburn, racking up 780 yards and, 1,000 all-purpose yards can lead to an NFL contract, which is the dream for a lot of these kids. So, I encouraged him. Like, I was pleasantly surprised when, a couple of days after when, Weaver and Battie hadn't quite hit the portal, I was like, oh God, like, is something wrong? Like, I expected some of these guys to leave because frankly, we're terrible. They're good. They should go play somewhere where their contributions are going to lead to wins instead of, at half empty mostly empty Raymond James Stadium at the hands of a blowout. Like, that's just the nature of college football right now.
Can we take a second just for you correcting half empty was too generous and you had to go mostly empty. But there's a question that I want to kind of touch on. It's from Hi, I'm Date Mike. I love Date Mike. He's got the Kangol hat on. It's backwards. He's ready to party. He'll dance on a pool table if you need him. But what's been our takes of USF Twitter right now after this past weekend? Here's the thing. We started out strong. That was a Kelly Clarkson thing right there. But other than that, you cannot, and I mean this with all sincerity, and I want you to hear this from my heart. You cannot be happy when a transfer comes into USF and then be willing to set the place afire when someone transfers out. That's not how this shit works. That's not how any of this works. You wish the 18, 19, 20-year-old good luck at their next spot, and you move on. Does it matter? Not really. You have had to replace them in 3 or 4 years anyway. Brian Battie was here for 3 years. Xavier Weaver was here for 4. Dustin Hall was here for 4. In normal circumstances, most of them would have been They would have aged out of the process already. The COVID year being what it was, now you've got a couple extra years. You can't be happy that Gary Bohannon decides to transfer from Baylor to USF. You can't be happy when Jared Mangum transferred from Colorado to USF. You can't be happy when Kawika Mitchell transferred in. You can't be happy when Tyrone McKenzie transfers in. You can't be happy when Mike Ford transfers in or Jamar Taylor transferred in. Or, I mean, I can go on and on and on. You can't be happy when JPP transfers in from the community college. You can't be happy that happens, but at the same time, piss all over a kid who decides to leave because I'm going to be playing in the SEC. Like, what are we doing here? Literally, what are we doing here? This makes no sense to me. This is like you staying at your dead-end job when you've got a promotion out there that they're willing to take you and pay you 2 times as much. And I'm not talking about actual money. I'm talking about exposure. I'm talking about getting better resources. I'm talking about having better competition where people are pushing you to be better. This new conference that USF is going to be in is going to be absolute cheeks. You're telling me Brian Batiste not going to get better facing against SEC opponents, or if Xavier Weaver ends up at Colorado or wherever he ends up, you're telling me it's not going to be better for them? Y'all are insane, and you need to get off your high horse.
Yeah, and to your point, you can't be like, this is a great job. Look at all the guys you can get to bounce back. Right? That's a lot of people say the job is so great because of all the guys you can get to transfer back home. Well, you can't say that, and then the next thing you say, well, then nobody can transfer out. It's kind of the way it works now, and you have to, especially in this situation where you have guys that have been here for a while that have kind of poured their heart and soul into it while they were here, and now they're going to have to go through another new coaching staff, another rebuild. If you're going to have to do that, you might as well just go somewhere else, especially if that can get you closer to your dream, as Steeg mentioned earlier. So I don't think you can be upset with these guys, especially if, one of the biggest selling points is, hey, look at all the guys that can transfer back home.
And here's the thing. All of those guys that transferred out over the last week or so, I'll harp on these 3 for eternity because I think that's what set everybody like just absolutely insane. Dustin Hall was recruited by Charlie Strong, played for Jeff Scott, and would have played for Alex Golish. So it would have been his third head coach at the same place. That's a bit tough.
Would have been his 4th offensive line coach, possibly?
I think so. Or maybe 3rd.
Was he here the year before? Was his first year with Kerwin, or did he have a year before?
Dustin Hall was a true freshman with Kerwin.
Okay. So 3rd offensive line coach.
So Xavier Weaver, same thing. 3rd head coach in what, 4 years? Brian Batiste, same thing. Third head. He was recruited by Charlie Strong's staff, played for Jeff Scott, and then would have been playing for Alex Golish. Bro, like, come on. If you were at the same job and you kept going through bosses every 2 years, would you really want to stay there? That doesn't seem like the healthiest thing when you've got a better option. So that's just where we're at. And God bless them. Who cares what happens? But for what USF is and has historically been, it has been I'm coming back home haven. All right. MVS transferred back in. Rodney Adams transferred back in. Like some of the top guys that you care about, that you love, the guy who has a massive USF tattoo on his back was a transfer. So you can't have it both ways. Either you like the transfer process or you dislike it, but don't be happy when the guy who transfers in becomes a star for USF.
Rules for thee, not for me. Infamous. And the other, I said this to a friend. I was like, USF is finally experiencing, or actually the entire country is really experiencing what SEC schools have been dealing with for like years when it comes to transfers and just what seems to be like a really shitty feeling of like, a stud guy transferring out, like that fucking sucks. But at the end of the day, that's the nature of college football right now, and college football changes a lot. College football right now is very different than what it was 10 years ago. And even 6
3
years
years
ago.
ago.
2019. It's a
Yeah.
completely different sport
It's
than it
completely
was
different.
right before the season before the pandemic. It's a completely different sport from 20, like Joe Burrow's 20, like that. I think that was that championship, right? That was the January
Yeah,
2020. Yeah. It's a completely different sport than when Joe Burrow was here, who was a guess what? It was a transfer. Like you can't like,
Right.
oh my
And
God, I can't believe it.
it's
That's
yeah.
what grinds my gears.
And
Maybe it's my
it's
old
not
age, but goddamn.
it's not just about like I think some people have like this transfer stink about it sometimes, that if a guy's transferring, it's because he couldn't rack it at whatever university he initially chose to. And that does happen from time to time. And you know, a prime example of it, you know, the Washington quarterback, Sam Hubbard, I think is his name, just
Heward.
transferred. Heward just transferred out. Perennial 5-star, one of the best quarterbacks in the country coming out of high school, just transferred out of Washington because he probably wasn't going to play next year. And that's perfectly fine. He's going to go to another school that he thinks that he will be able to rack it up. But some of these guys, you know, they transfer because they were promised, you know, visions of, you know, starting at this university and you were going to play, and then you don't. And that's fine. You can go back home. Or, you know, hey, I went there because the coach that I had was, you know, my offensive line coach there, had a really great relationship with. And, you know, now he got fired, so I'm just going to transfer back home. Like it's perfectly fine to take transfers. It's perfectly fine to take high school kids. You have to learn to kind of balance both at this point. And at the same time, you also have to balance this whole looming NIL thing. So, you know, I don't envy coaches right now, but it's definitely, you have to balance both. You have to take transfers because transfers are going to be very valuable. You have to take high schools are going to be very valuable. And God bless it, you can't just take Tampa Bay area kids. Yeah, as much as I think it's a fantastic idea, if we just took Tampa Bay area kids, fuck, we'd be terrible because we would be scraping the bottom of the barrel for these kids right now. It is perfectly fine to take a kid from DeMatha High School, one of the best schools in the country for football. Perfectly fine to take a kid from DeMatha. You know, taking a kid from Texas, Derek Bowman from Texas. Like, yes, okay, I will take a Texas offensive lineman. Those kids are fucking big. Like, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's like the Midwest, and then you can get some Texas hogs. Like that's, you can get some Iowa boys, or you can get some Texas dudes, and that's perfectly fine. And I think you were kind of touching on it, and I'll kind of maybe push it over the edge here. Is that the transfer portal is a little? I mean, it's vastly different than it was in 2009. It was vastly different than it was in 2014, where, as you mentioned, Steeg, a lot of these guys who were in the portal or transferring to another school, they had some ick about them. There was something wrong. They couldn't cut it. There was other these things that, frankly, now, I mean, the transfer portal, for better or worse, is it's a way to just check out your options. It's playing the field. It shouldn't. And we're going to have to break this habit. It shouldn't have the stigma, or this guy just couldn't hack it at this other place. And that very well may be the case. But there's also, I mean, Brian Petit could hack it at his place. Xavier Weaver could hack it at USF. He's just looking to move up, and that's what you're doing. And on the flip side of that, I think this is more for men's basketball. Like, there's a couple guys who have transferred out of USF that went lower, and then they've gone lower even still because they just couldn't make the leap from high school to college at even, I mean, USF is a bad men's basketball program, but the conference as a whole fluctuates as being good. I mean, USF men's basketball is playing the number one team in the country on Wednesday. Like, it's a conference game. Like, they're in a pretty good basketball conference. They've historically been in a good basketball conference. So you don't know that they can't hack it until they're a year or two in, and then they transfer down, and then they transfer down again. And that's just how it goes. Like, there's the two sides of the coin where this guy could hack it. It just wasn't the fit for him anymore, or he wants to see what he could do to play up. Jimmy Horn's a prime example as well at Colorado. He's playing up now, especially for Dion. They're going to be lights, camera, action all the time. I'm excited to see what he does. So it's the double-sided coin. I think it may be flipping closer toward I'm going to see if I can play up instead of I have issues. Because at the initial when 247 started with the transfer portal rankings, it was okay. So this guy was a 5-star in high school. Well, he's in the portal, so something must be wrong. So now he's a 3-star. I don't know if that's really going to be the same discrepancy as much. Maybe for some of the guys who never played, but other than that, some of the guys who did play have some action, have some film. You'll be able to maybe they wanted a different outcome.
Maybe they wanted to play or practice in a brand spanking new indoor performance facility.
Maybe
maybe
break
it in, pee in the bathroom for the first time, kind of thing.
There you go.
Man, I wonder who broke the seal of the bathroom in there.
Oh.
Hold on, I'll ask.
We got sources.
Well, I'm sure someone peed during practice during like November, Steeg.
Could be, maybe.
I don't know. It was under construction up until probably like they probably put in the last screw when they started opening the door for people to come in there.
Yeah, they were just putting in the last potted plant. I saw that. I saw when people were walking in today, the TV that's in the main entranceway wasn't even on. So maybe they haven't even hooked up the electricity to do it yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's I think all the bells and whistles are mostly done in there. But they're going to continuously improve the place as well. I do love how it's called Savage Field. That's fucking badass.
Yeah, that was like one of the first. That was like one of the first donations. It was like Savage Field, and then all of the Thong Song donations were like right after it. That's and then the big money started to come in. I'm still pissed we didn't get a plaque, but whatever. They had to make the cutoff at some point.
Well, we'll talk to Michael about it.
I mean,
that's right.
That was wild. That was like 5 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is. And in 5 years, we'll theoretically have a stadium, so that's cool to think about.
Thank God for Dion.
Oh my God! If he didn't come over to Tampa and say, "I want those blueprints in my hand," and then proceed to rip them up and then go to Boulder, who knows what would have happened to us?
He accelerated this timeline for sure.
Yeah,
he cut out the stuff that he knew wouldn't pass engineering specs. So,
yeah, exactly. We've gone for over an hour, and I think that's pretty good. Also, I didn't bring my charger to where my new location is, so I'm at like 28% battery life, and I think maybe I'm knocking on wood. Maybe I jinxed myself. It seems like it was pretty good tonight.
Yeah,
you only glitched once.
Yeah,
look at me. New year, new me.
That's right. New year, new TDS.
New us. Look at us go.
Look at us. So I think we'll wrap it up here. Just as a recap at the top, I know some people joined in late. Again, I'll let you guys recap it, but just surface level. So Twitter not going to be a thing anymore because you can't comment on it. We'll still post the links. Seth, you did that tonight to the YouTube and the Twitch stream on Twitter, and we'll retweet that before we go live. We'll announce that we're going to be having a show on Twitter as well, but the streams itself will be on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. That seemed to be the best avenues to get the older folks on Facebook to interact, the super cool people on Twitch. I see y'all. And also on YouTube with the comments, having comments flying. It was, I loved it. I loved it tonight. It seemed like there was a lot of interaction. I'm a big fan of that. But it's also leading toward being able to monetize this as a Twitch affiliate, which will be fun. And then we'll also be starting a Discord where the first we're going to be covering up through National Signing Day on February 8th. We're going to be if you show us, if you screenshot that you are following us on Twitch, you'll be, we'll let you into the Discord. We'll have recruiting stuff, inside scoops, whatnot for the first month or so for recruiting. And then as football season starts to kick off, as you guys see that, oh, you know what, they're not just blowing smoke. We actually do know what we're talking about, and we actually have some pretty good sources throughout the university and the football team and all the other sports. You'll see it, and then we'll start a slightly paid version for the Discord closer to football season. But basically, you'll get from January 11th through probably closer to July, basically free. So baseball, football, all that stuff, all the Discord stuff that we just randomly find out during the off seasons, it'll be put in there for free, and then there'll be a paid service at the end, because honestly, we're really good at this, and I don't want to toot my own horn. I mean, we're good at this. We know, I swear to you, I'm not blowing smoke. We know stuff, and this seemed like the best way to let you guys in on what we know without it. I don't know. Without
if we had the Discord, you would have known the Dion thing was out about a week and a half before it was reported that it was out. So that's the kind of stuff we want to put in there. It's stuff we can't really put out publicly, but it's kind of a different way for us to interact and put stuff like that out. So like the Dion 90% Dion, that's a big joke now. You would have known really early that that was really 0%. So that's the kind of stuff we can put on there. If you, I think we're already up to 20 followers on Twitch. Send us a screenshot to the house account, the Data Stampede Twitter account, that you're a follower on Twitch, and then we'll send you a Discord invite. Jump in there, and you can kind of talk about whatever. But we also have rooms for football, recruiting, Olympic sports, so we can talk about basketball, track, tennis, whatever you want to talk about. We all have different rooms for you to talk about that with other people in there. So, yeah, maybe a private bread bracket or something like that. So, yeah, so jump in there, send us a screenshot, and we'll get you guys in the Discord. It should be a lot of fun, a lot more ways to interact directly and make it pretty easy.
Exactly. Non-bread for life. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been another really fun edition. Way to kick off 2023, folks. I love you both. I hope nothing but success in your personal lives and your real jobs, as well as this. And if we can have fun along the way, why not? I mean, we're going to be here. Why not have some fun doing it? For Seth, for Steeg, I've been Nathan. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Bulluminati podcast. Good night. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls. Follow us on Twitch.
Go Bulls, butthole.